So hello everybody, it is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Walter of Lit One, or I should say Lit.1 also as the Money Talks. He is our financial guru here on the Demetra K Show. Walter has worked with a whole host of people, from celebrities, everyday people, and everybody else in between. He has been in the industry for nearly 30 years, if not 30 years by now. Basically just teaching people how to make and save money and everything else. And so today we are going to be talking about other groups of people, or races, I should say. Looks like they're joining in the support for reparations for Black Americans. So we'll get into that. We're also going to talk about that Titanic submarine, if you will. The Titan is the name of it, that has gone missing, and everybody and their mama is talking about it. And of course, they are expending a lot of effort to look for it. So we're going to talk about that as well. But I should also say the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. So let's see who we have on here. Stacy, how you doing? It says good afternoon. Yes, indeed. And hello from Los Angeles. I was just out there. Hello, Brother Reggie. How you doing? And Brother Jesse, what's going on with you? So, Walter, how are you doing before we get started?
I'm doing good. I feel good. My skinniest almost ever as an adult. My fighting weight. Things are looking up. My ex-wife is out of the country. Hallelujah. I mean, that's hallelujah for her. She finally gets a break.
She wouldn't happen to be on that submarine, would she?
No, I don't have that much money.
All right. So anyway, who else is on here? Lord Flawless, how you doing? Mr. Pirate Brain, what's going on with you? And No Saj, I hope I said that right. How you doing? So anyway, of course, you guys know here in the United States of America, we as Black people who are descendants of slavery have been asking for reparations. Well, since our ancestors got off of the plantation, right, since slavery ended, of course, during that time, they were talking about giving Black people 40 acres and a mule. Well, we didn't get that. In fact, they actually gave white people reparations for losing their slaves. And so they got land and money and things like that. And so here in 2023, we are still asking for that, not only just for slavery, which was horrible, but we're also asking for it due to Jim Crow. And even to this day, the things that we as Black people are going through, we still have Black people that are losing their land, whether it's farmers or 93-year-old women. There in South Carolina, Gullah Geechee land is in danger of being taken by developers. And so, and plus, you know, of course, police brutality. Had the slave patrol back then, and we still have the slave patrol now. I just saw a story that said in Houston, so there Black people to the tune of 22% make up the population in Houston. But a report that came out from Houston Police Department, Transparency Hub, said that 72% of the people that were seriously harmed by police officers were Black people, and 63% of Black or people killed by the police were Black people, and that's just in Houston. So we still have a slave patrol issue, and so of course we need our money. Reef the Watcher, how you doing? And Arneva, what's going on with you? So I'm actually going to show you guys a video of other groups of people talking about helping Black people and why it's important that they help us do that. So here we go.
For Black American reparations, many Jewish and Japanese organizations among them.
I think there's a growing realization that in 1865 slavery ended, but that the bias simply morphed into other forms that not only put a target on the backs of African Americans, but also other people of color.
Don Tamaki is one of 9 members on California's Reparations Task Force, the first of its kind in any state. His parents, natives of the San Francisco Bay Area, were also in an internment camp. He even has a copy of the check his mother received from the federal government.
There is no equivalence, really, between 4 years in a concentration camp and 400 years of systematic exclusion and discrimination. But I think Japanese Americans as a group do understand what it's like to be excluded on the basis of race. And I think there is a sense that African Americans open the door and everybody else walked through it.
The task force is suggesting more than 100 proposals for California to address issues that have historically set the Black community back, including health harms, mass incarceration and over-policing, and housing discrimination.
So to me, it's tragic that we're seeing this declining population.
Native San Franciscan Timothy Allen Simon says he's seen his Black neighbors move out of his Bayview community. In fact, citywide in 1970, 13% of the population identified as Black. Now that number stands at less than 6%.
San Francisco has lost the brilliance to a large extent, the cultural value, the economic contribution and innovation, all that's come out of the African American community.
Simon says educating the public about that loss is key, and allies like Amy Iwasaki Mass are helping to shine light on that pain by exposing their own. Is it important for Black Americans to get support from other Americans?
Absolutely, because when we were having trouble, Black people were being good to us. It's not the race. It's just that as a human beings.
Stephanie Elam, CNN.
So there you saw just a few examples of other groups of people. And now they even said the Jewish community, some believe that Black people in America should get reparations. Now, it should also be said that even still to this day, most Americans outside of Black Americans do not believe that we should get the money. Of course, we've heard the complaining that, oh, we weren't actually slaves. They didn't own slaves and it was so long ago. But of course, we know the price tag that is owed to us. It waffles, right? Some people saying it's a couple of billion, but of course, we know it's way into the trillions. Dr. William Darity, he is saying anywhere between 14 to 17 trillion plus interest, which is owed to American descendants of slavery. So we also know that it is going to take other groups of people to jump on with supporting reparations for Black people. As the Japanese gentleman there said, he says, well, you know, Black people opened the door for everybody else. And it's just the truth, right? Especially with the civil rights movement. I've actually had Asian people tell me that, well, we know that if it wasn't for you guys, that we wouldn't enjoy the things that we have. And that's just true for everybody else. Other than Black people, they've enjoyed freedoms or economic greatness, if you will, due to the sacrifices of our people. So are we getting closer to realizing reparations? I think so, because we know that in California, they actually have till July 1st. So they're going to make a decision on June 30th as to what actually will be given to American descendants of slavery in California. Now, some people will say, well, California didn't have any slaves. Yes, they did. Now, it wasn't a slave state per se, like in the South, but they participated in slavery because they honored the, I forget the name of it, but a Runaway Slave Act is what it is. They returned slaves back to their original owner if they were caught. And they also allowed people who moved from the South to California with slaves to keep the slaves. So, you know, and also they participated in a whole lot of eminent domains and all kind of stuff that they've done to Black people. So we'll see what happens with that. So, Walter, what say you about that? Do you think, well, for one, I know you're kind of saying sometimes you don't think we'll get it, but do you think it's helpful that other groups of people are jumping in the fight? And then I'm going to put the link in the comment section for you guys to join in just a minute.
I think it's helpful, yeah, that the other groups are getting behind this, but it's not going to really matter until Black people get behind it. And when I mean get behind it, like, what are we, like, first of all, the Japanese, they got $20,000 each. And then before that, they were given reparations, it looks like as a whole, from Ronald Reagan. So, and I know this was like 1940s, 50s, so it was a long time ago. So they got the money. Each person who was affected got the money. So what I what I think would probably go better is if, and I don't know how this is possible, but I'm sure somebody can figure it out. If we could go back to each maybe slave and then give them, be it, I mean, dead. Okay, most slaves are dead, right? All slaves are dead. At least maybe we got some mental ones here. That's a whole nother show. But maybe go back and identify who those were and then assign a dollar amount to that person. And then from there, spread that money amongst their heirs. That's what I would do if I were going to give reparations. I mean, because this, and first of all, if we're going to do reparations, it has to be real stuff. We're not going to give each Black person $5 million, give them a mansion for $1 million. That's stupidity. It's never going to work. I mean, it's not even close. It sounds so crazy. It just gives people a reason to laugh versus saying, you know what? I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to assign some money based on the slave. Then we are going to, like if it were me, I would, just to save us the embarrassment and all the shit that people say, is I would take the money, assign it to each person, and then have them go through a class, have them go through a course, and have them go through a series of events where they can learn how to grow the money. And let's be real, even reparations in California, I heard something, they were talking about giving people $200,000, which I thought made a lot more sense, considering that even if you go back to the white race or the Asians or the Japanese, not every single person in that race was going to do the right thing. Some of the people are just lazy. Some of the white people, Japanese, whatever, Jews, just weren't going to do stuff with their life. So to say everybody, regardless of what you've done with your life, gets 5 million is ridiculous. Versus bringing the number down, okay, makes a little more sense. Then you don't have people that had nothing to do with slavery. And I get it. We have Ukraine war and we're putting money in all that. But that's Joe Biden, Hunter, and them in collusion. We can't get involved. We ain't going to never fix the Ukraine stuff. That's Joe Biden and his family. And they ain't going to never admit to what they've done wrong. But keeping it with us, if we can take a reasonable number and then give it to us, and then us as leaders of our own selves go out and do something with the money. And I hear some of these people talking about Tyrone and them, and I don't really agree with that. I think it's stupid. They're going to be eating chicken and waffles. That's just, you got some Negroes out there cooning, and you always going to have people working for the man. It's just the way it is. But if we could put together something that's rational and reasonable, I think it would make more sense. Yeah, Black people, we lost a lot when it came to land, and we're never going to be able to count that. But we have to put together something reasonable to where it actually gives it a chance to pass. Like to say every Black person gets $5 million, that's insanity. Like in how many, even if you go back to slavery, if you gave, each one of us weren't going to have $5 million, period. And there are a lot of us, honestly, that don't do shit with the money we have. I was watching this, and I'm always on the financial news, and this guy was like saying, how Black people, we are the number one and one of the top consumers when it comes to luxury goods. At what point do we make our own adjustments? Like, let's say reparations never comes. Where do we, what do we do as a people? Right?
Let me jump in here because you about to.
I know
they about to hand it to you in these comments.
We got some nigga shit coming. I get it. That's why y'all got no money.
Wait.
The point I made was valid.
I get what you're saying, but
you want to get into attack mode and another channel. I want to do that.
Hello. Yeah, take a sip.
Y'all take tea.
Okay, tea. Drink some tea, brother. Drink some tea, okay? So I just kind of want to address some things that you said. And I always want to stress too, on this channel, we are allowed our own opinions, but we gonna check you on it. So that's not a secret. Somebody said, where's Walter's people from? Believe it or not, Walter is my older brother, my very older brother.
Very educated, just a tiny bit older brother. And when it comes to money, I've spent most of my life dealing with money, from rich, famous, you name it, sitting in bank rooms with banks, lawyers. I get the conversations And I've actually experienced, been in some of these conversations where we've actually tried to help my people who are Black. So if you want to like talk about who my people are, I mean, like, I know more about Black money than most Black people will ever know. So let's keep it clean if you want to have a real conversation.
All right, well, let me jump in here, because and you know, Walter, we ain't gonna do feelings. We're not gonna do
No,
feelings.
it's not feelings. I just want to get something done today. I
All
don't
right,
want to
but
sit there and spend an hour talking about like.
can I talk, brother? Can I talk?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Now, I mean, the talking points that you have is not rare. Because if I want to be correct in saying, you basically said about $2,000 to $3,000 would be reasonable.
I said $200,000.
I mean, that's what I mean. I'm sorry, $200,000 to $300,000. That's what I meant. Sorry about that. $200,000 to $300,000 would be reasonable for American descendants of slavery. But I'm asking you to really think about all of the things that have happened to our people in slavery, whether we were brought over here, because I know some people were already here, but where our people that were enslaved, even to this moment, the things that are going on with Black people. You're saying $200,000 to $300,000 would suffice, but then you brought up Ukraine, and the Pentagon said today, well, oops, last month we said we accidentally gave them $3 billion more in error. So we thought we didn't know that we even gave it to them. But today they said, well, it was actually $6.2 billion that we gave Ukraine in error. So they're giving away. Wait.
Ukraine that's a disaster.
Wait. Let me finish. Okay, I'm coming to the. Y'all probably wonder, why did I wear this hot ass coat today? I don't know, but I have it on anyway. But listen. So yeah, Ukraine is a disaster. Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and all these other people doing, whoop-de-whoop. They still got the money for that. They still got the money to accidentally give somebody else in another country $6.2 billion. But then we talk about the debt that is owed to Black people. And it's not just for you, I'm just saying in general, the debt that is owed to Black people in America. We want to be stingy with the purse strings. How? And then also we see all the other money that's going out. We hear about billions of dollars being allocated to the immigrants coming over here. The Afghans, they got a nice airplane ride over here and set up very nicely, and a whole host of other things. But when it comes down to the people who built this country, that dropped a lot of blood in this soil and is still dropping a lot of blood, the most homeless people in the United States of America, the most evicted people in the United States of America, the most brutalized, per the FBI statistics, we're saying, well, we're going to see what we can do. That's not cool.
Y'all voted for those people, number one. And two, I watched the Senate, I watched Jerome Powell sit up and take 1 million questions from a bunch of Black people in power. That is we have a lot of Black people in power in Washington, in government, who are not doing shit, and they are allowing their money going to Ukraine. They're the ones signing for these immigrants getting all this money. We have so many Black people in power in Washington, in office, and they're not doing shit. We cannot keep rambling on about Ukraine and the migrants when we got more Black people than we've ever had in history in power in Washington, and it's getting worse for Black people. I sat up there and watched Maxine Waters ramble on some wild shit. Had nothing to do with helping Black people. And on and on and on. Every time I see a Black leader on TV, especially on the liberal, they're talking wild shit. They're the ones saying yes to Ukraine. Yes to the migrant workers. Yes, let the immigrants in. No wall being built. Like, we have too many people in power to keep bitching and complaining that we are not getting our way. Like, it almost seems like the more Black liberals we get in power, the less shit we get. When do we address that? Because we can't fix it. I don't care what we do. Joe Biden is not going to stop. Him and Hunter ain't going to stop covering their tracks in Ukraine. Period. And I made a good point about, if we're going to do reparations, it needs to be reasonable. And what I mean by reasonable is it has to be able to get done. Would I like $5 million? Hell yeah. But are they going to give us 5 million? Hell no. But if we come with a number that's more reasonable, don't you think we'd have a better chance of getting it? Or should we just keep on the stupid shit saying we want $5 million each?
Well, I mean, we deserve
$20,000 each.
But listen, and I'm gonna read your comment, Jesse. I'm almost scared to open up the link. I know y'all can't see me all the way, but that's okay. We deserve $5 million each at least.
But
we
they
deserve
don't,
that.
It's not going to happen, though. It ain't going to happen.
I mean,
okay.
It could have. They have the money to make it happen. Listen, one thing. Wait.
Every black person $5 million who's a descendant of a slave. Like let's speak for
listen, one thing. Wait. Hold on. One thing I'm not never gonna do is worry about the purse strings of the United States of America when they continuously give money away to everybody else. And here we are as black people talking about, well, I don't think we'll get that much, but I settle for a little bit. Now I want it all, brand new socks and drawers. I'm just saying.
Then it ain't gonna happen. Then we never gonna get it. I mean,
I'm not concerned about what other people doing or where they gonna get the money from. And I'm not saying it's about you, Walter, but in a way that is kind of like our eyes give you. Never mind. I'm gonna shut up. Hey Jesse, how you doing? It says first of all, they gave Ish and I don't know what that emoji is. It says people their own country after World War II. I don't care if they gave us 20 million apiece, still wouldn't not be enough. What they owe really has a no number on it. It's 400 years of back pay, 400 years of all kinds of atrocities. And this is one of the reasons why the people are in a situation mentally, most of us. So there's a whole healing process that has to come about. First of all, they owe us everything. So they put limitations on it. Yeah, they do. I mean, it's like, honestly, that $5 million is a very low number for, like you said, over 400 years of atrocities that our people have gone through. The Japanese, they got $20,000 check. And yes, it was in the 80s that something happened to them. Let me turn this on my face. I mean, in internment camps in World War I, they got their money. Yeah, it took them 40 years. But like they said in the piece, damn, it was 40 years for us, but it's been over 400 years for black people. So yeah, they deserve their money. But as far as saying, what the United States cannot afford and we're going to get, and listen, I'm going to concede this too. Yeah, there's just going to be some of us that's going to trick the money off, right? Because as of now, we have about almost $2 trillion, I guess, give or take. I don't know, that comes into the black community, but we give most of that away. So yeah, that's going to happen. But there's some of us who are not going to do that. There's some of us that are going to make wise decisions. But even if they did trick off the money, that's their money. The United States have been tricking off money forever. But yet black people can't trick off money. I don't know. So let me see.
I mean, first of all, I could care less about people tricking off money. And honestly, if they gave everybody money and they tricked it off, all it's going to do is go back into the economy anyways. So that's not really my issue. If you get the money and trick it off, that's your business, because it's going to go right back into the economy and it's going to go back to where it belongs, to the people that know how to manage money, save, and invest it. It's going to go back to where it needs to be. So that's not my issue if we trick the money off or not. My issue is it going to be doable based on the current conditions?
What conditions? Like Sean just said, how many times have white corporations got bailouts? No issues about that. And I mean, they do it all the time. I mean,
because white people have people representing them in Washington that will pull the trigger. Black people do not have people in Washington who will pull the trigger, period. You cannot, if you took every black person in Washington, Congress, Senate, council members, and you put them all, it would take up probably a whole damn state. They're the ones responsible for getting the check cuts. But we have zero, nothing from all of our black leaders in office. So you can keep going on and on and on about, like, I get it, we need millions of dollars. But at what point did we put somebody in power who's going to do it? I mean, like, we can keep singing this song, but we ain't going to never get the money. We ain't going to get a penny until we get some people in office that says, you know what? No, we're not moving until we get our money. Maxine Waters, no, we're not moving until we get our money. She's 8,800 years old. She be talking the dumbest nonsense in the world. And on and on and on. I can't even keep up. Now we got the transgender shit and black people. We get behind all this crazy stuff. Like, Black people create civil, we fight, and then all these other groups come behind us on the stuff we created. Like all this madness with Black Lives Matter and all the money, like it's too many things going on. If we really want to get something done, get our Black leaders to focus and say, cut us a check so we can move on to the next subject. But it ain't gonna happen because they out there trying to deal with all these other things. So we can keep having this conversation, but it ain't gonna never happen until our Black leaders get together and start asking for the check. Period. And until then, we're just gonna keep doing what we're doing. Period. And while we're on the subject of, I don't want to say waiting for reparations, why don't we do something in between now and then? You know, Black people, when we talk to each other, we start talking about money and saving and investments and being responsible. The shit turns to criticism, attacks, like buffoonery.
Well, let me say this.
It's insane.
Wait. Walter.
We the only ones that attack each other when we talk about being responsible with our own shit.
But wait a minute now. Let me stop you right there. Because I can see, there's a little bit, emotions a little high. And
no, it's not emotions. I would just like to see Black people start saving.
Okay, but Walter, sometimes listen.
Okay.
All I'm saying is this. Sometimes we got to be able to listen enough to hear whether it's attacks or is it valid pushback. And I think it's valid pushback when you say we're never going to get it. Oh, $200,000 to $300,000 is enough. When if you like, and Walter, this is the crazy part about.
I didn't say it was enough.
Wait, let me finish.
More doable.
Whatever.
No, it's not whatever. They're two different words.
Right. Okay, but let me finish. You said doable or enough? What can be?
It's more doable. Like California had something on the books to give each person $200,000. And that was gaining momentum. And then somebody in San Francisco said, let's make it 5 million and then give them $1 million mansions for $1 and then give them all this other stuff. And it turned into a joke in California. That is what I'm talking about.
Okay, let me ask you this.
And it was $5 million. It was all over California. I live here.
Yeah, it was. The conversation still is $5 million. And I think it's specifically, I believe it was San Francisco to be exact.
Yeah, it was San Francisco.
So let me ask you this: where in California can you buy a house for $200,000 to $300,000?
I'm not talking about buying a house.
Well, I'm saying, wait, let me finish. You saying it's doable. But if we're talking about California, where in California can you buy a house for $200,000 to $300,000?
Well, you could put $30,000, $40,000 down on a piece of property and you can get into a house. You can put down $100,000 and you can buy a piece of property and get it ready and start building on it. I'm not saying $200,000 is going to buy you a house. What I'm saying is what it would do is give you a jump start to where you can start your life. And if realistically, if every one of us got $200,000, we could all take a month or two off, go somewhere and get our stuff together as a group and put together some plans and say, here's what we're going to do with the money. Pay off our bills. Boom. Now we got 180 left. Let's take a month off and get together and let's regroup. That's what I'm talking about. Something that is realistic. Not everybody get 5 million. Like we can't even they won't even give us a dollar right now.
Okay, but let me ask you this. How many people put a dollar sign on what Ukrainians are getting or Afghans are getting or the money that they're expending on bringing immigrants over into the Black neighborhoods? How many people put a dollar cap on that?
Okay, but that is people in power addressing their agenda. Joe Biden, whatever it's got going, these migrants coming over is making it easier for Democrats to stay in power. These guys have an agenda. Listen, do I want migrants coming over here? Hell no. I would like to see our people, our kids getting those jobs. But we are not in control of the agenda. You got the liberals, they're letting those migrants come over here so they can come over here and vote so they could stay in power. That's what I guarantee you. If every migrant came over here and voted for Donald Trump, there'd be a wall so tall, it'd be so thick, they'd have a security guard on every inch of that fence. So it is about keeping the liberals in power. when you fly over the Afghans, and then when they come over here, who do you think they're voting for? That is the problem. And we have too many Black people in power voting for those dumb rules of giving those people that kind of money. First of all, we destroyed Afghanistan. That's a whole nother story. But like, at what point do the Black leaders get in office and say, no, we're going to take care of our people? We're not doing shit else until Black people, we fix this reparation issue. I don't care if it's 200,000 or 2 million. We're going to fix it. And then that way the subject can we can move on to something else. So, and I don't have all the answers, but I do know as a financial advisor and working with multiple people who have had little money or people that have had millions of dollars, I think I have some experience in what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I'm going to just say this to you. And listen, there's no doubt Walter has, and hello to everybody that came on here. I'm going to put the link up in just a minute. I'm just trying to get through the comments so they don't build up. Walter definitely is a financial expert. So that I don't know of anybody else better than Walter when it comes to money. I'm looking out my window. Hopefully it doesn't get crazy outside with the weather. But I will say this to you, Walter, and I say this to you in love. Sometimes it does come off as very condescending when you are speaking to us about money and reparations and things like that. Because I think for those of us, and I'm not saying you don't, because I know you do, that really understand the need for reparations. And to me, the dollar amount, yeah, we're going to argue about that. But it's the fact that our people were not never be made whole, but we didn't even get like anything for what has happened to us and still happening to us. Then you got to make the other argument, but other people have been vindicated financially for what has happened to them here and what has not happened to them here. The Jewish community, we know that the Obama administration, at the behest of Biden and Bernie Sanders, said give elderly Jewish people some money for being survivors of the Holocaust. That did not happen over here. But when we come and we talk about Black people needing, it's not even a want, because a lot of times when people say, "Oh, you ain't gonna get it," or blah blah blah, it's almost like you tell not you, but people are saying, "Oh, Black people just want a handout. Oh, you're being greedy. Or go work for it." But the fact of the matter is, we have worked for it and we still working for it. So it does come off a little condescending. So that's why, as I look in the comment section, you got a lot of people who ordinarily agree with you are like taken aback, because it's like you mad. You're mad that people are saying, "Wait a minute, we deserve this money."
Okay, again, for the people that didn't take English as a first language,
Okay,
I agree. Let me finish.
Wait, hold on. Let me stop you. Wait. That's condescending.
But what I'm saying is we deserve the money. I've never said we don't deserve the money. So let's put that to bed. I never said we don't deserve the money. That's not what I'm saying. Of course we do. But I'm saying what's more likely to happen? Okay, so do you want to say, okay, we all agree we deserve all this money, but who cares what we feel if it's never going to happen versus putting something together? See, it's kind of like when you put together a budget in your house, right? You go, here's what we can do, here's what we can't do. We know the United States has so much shit going on. They're not going to take care of Black people. And the Black people in charge aren't even going to take care of Black people. So all I'm saying is, why don't we work on a number that's more, when I say reasonable, I mean more reasonable to get past. Because I hear a lot about reparations and people on both sides, and it's like it's turning into this war of words against people. I know as a financial planner, sometimes you have to look at what's doable. The United States has made it very clear that they are not interested in dealing with this for whatever reason. So if I'm a Black leader, I'm in office, I'm saying, hey, let's put together a number that's more reasonable that we can actually do. Let's take $200 billion, whatever the number is, I don't know, $1 trillion, and let's give it to these people. But to keep going on and on, about we need 5 million in this and that, they're not even taking it seriously. And and let me address this comment. We don't have black leaders. Like, we have black people in power.
No, we don't.
I mean, here's when I say in power, they're on. Listen, man. I watch financial news every day, and I see Maxine Waters on TV. She's on the financial committee. I see her talk more than anybody. She's a black woman. I would say that is power. She's questioning the Federal Reserve Chairman, one of the most powerful dudes in the country. She's challenging this dude on national television. You tell me that's not power? That's some power. I can't get up and question this dude.
It's perceived power. Maxine Waters does not have any power.
Why doesn't she?
Because, for one, she was never sent to Washington to have no power. She might have talked a good game when she was running. Oh, I'm going to help and this, that, and the other. And she talked about reparations, but once she got in there, she started helping everybody else. Maxine Waters only has the power. This is what I will concede. Something you said. Maxine Waters only has the power that her constituents give her. Now, she does for the Hispanics and everybody else because she knows that they do have real power. Yes, it's true that we as black people, we have power. We do not use it. We do elect the wrong people into office. Maxine Waters should not be in office as long as she's in office and she's done nothing demonstrative for her own people, which are black people, right? But she don't have no real power. None of them do. They gonna do it, get the white envelope like everybody else does, and go do for everybody else because they know, unfortunately, we are politically immature and we'll continue to vote for them even though we've got nothing in return. So that I will concede.
So how do we fix it then? How do we fix it then? If none of our black people in office have power, then what do we do? I mean, damn, there are a lot of black people in power or in positions where they should have power. You telling me none of them could be like, hey, we need to address this issue? Like, they're just all sitting there like helping the Hispanics and the Jews, our black supposedly leaders? I mean, and if that's the case, if they don't have power, then we're wasting our time talking about reparations. We are really wasting our time. We might as well be watching cartoons.
So what I'm going to do is, let me just say hello to everybody. Come on here. I am looking at your comments. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up the link, and hey Thunder, you said how much money are they offering? It varies, right? California and San Francisco, they're saying $5 million. I forget the initial price tag in California, but it's millions as well per black resident. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the link. And what I want you guys to do is come on here. And if you can give us some solutions as to how we can go about getting reparations, I would ask that if you come on here, just kind of keep your comments brief because, normally we have a lot of people trying to come on. Definitely, we don't need a history lesson or nothing like that. Just come on and, speak your piece. And I would also ask that we do not engage in any arguing up here. Otherwise, I will mute people's mics because sometimes it has come down to that. So I'm putting the link in the comment section right now. It's on YouTube. If you guys are watching on Facebook and you want to come on here, all I also ask is that you show me your face if I don't already know you before I bring you up to the big screen, just to make sure it ain't no nonsense. But in the meantime, I'm going to acknowledge those who came on here a little bit late. And let's see here. OG Patrice, can I see your face really quick before I bring you up? And then you can blank it back out. Okay, there you go. So if you don't want to be seen, you can be, there you go. All right, I'm going to add you to this stream. Oops. There you go. What's going on with you?
Hello, how are you, Demetra? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, hi, Walter, how are you?
Well, we're doing well.
How come we can't see your face? You look good in your picture.
Well, thank you. I'm at work, so I'm kind of undercover right now doing this because I'm in my office at work. So, but as I said in the chat, I am a member of ADOS, which is American Descendants of Slave Advocacy for Reparations, and I represent the state of Arizona. So, my dear brother, I hear you your conversation, you and the Demetra, and I hear a lot of things that you're saying, and not taking away from anything you're saying, but I think the fight and the way it's coming off, and the attitude of our people, I think, need to change in regards to reparation. I think that is one of the biggest fights, because we, as a part of the ADOS Advocacy Foundation, our biggest fight is amongst our people, each other, that have conversations like how you're speaking now, right? So let me just be clear on saying that the ADOS movement is a advocacy foundation. We have a reparation package. When you're looking at over 400 years of atrocities, and we're not just talking about slavery here, we're talking about Jim Crow era, we're talking about Reconstruction, we're talking about redlining, we're talking about the financial institution, housing, medical, all of these things that Black people were not privy to after the war, which we know that our Black slaves fought in the Civil War, right? Even from all the way through, going through Emancipation Proclamation, like all these eras. So you're talking in totality approximately a bill that is owed to American descendants of slaves of somewhere around $20 trillion. That's in totality. When you're talking 400 million, approximately, Black Americans who are descendants of slaves, we have to realize that the ADOS movement and the bill for reparations is going to have to be lineage based, because we know everyone does not qualify just because they are Black or of color. They may not qualify for the reparations. And let me be clear also to you, my brother, on there is a package that the ADOS movement is trying to get directly to whomever the president will be. We had the conversation with Trump. We had the we attempted to have the conversation with Trump. He was willing to have it with Ice Cube being the head of that. The ADOS movement have economies, we have financial advisors, we have a group of people on our team. This is not just saying, we're not just saying cut the check, my brother, because there are other areas where reparations are due. The 40 acres of Mew, which means the land that we were promised that were given back to the slave masters, we never got that, right? The money that was given back to the slave masters, we never received that. So it's a conglomerate of things that are owed reparation. There is a package that we are asking whomever is going to be in office. We are a group of people that have funding behind us. We are asking this to go directly to Congress so that the reparations package can become a protected category, just like the way the U's got their protected category, just the way the Asians got their protected category. The LGBTQIA plus is a protected category under Congress. We have to ask for these things in that particular way. So let me say this, because you talked about, and everybody always worries. It's funny how everybody always worry about what Black people are going to do with their money, but we never ask the question to any other races of people who are also known to blow their money. We have rich millionaires, billionaires who have blown millions and billions of dollars. It's funny to me that every time when it's concerning Black people, we ourselves even question things. We know that we fall behind the 8 ball when it comes to financial literacy. What ADOS has come together with, we're going to provide financial literacy,
I'm gonna, if I mute
there's a
you guys,
feedback.
hold on a second. If I mute you guys' mics, leave them muted until it's time for you to speak. Okay, there we go.
Financial literacy for our people. That's a part of the ADOS reparations package for those who want it. Let's be clear. Everybody's not going to want it. Everybody's not going to take it. And mental health as well, because when our ancestors were released, there was no counseling. Many of them suffered from depression, from being oppressed for hundreds and hundreds of years. And depression has been found to be hereditary. So many of our people that are still oppressed are going through a lot of mental health illness. ADOS has a package as that as well. But just to break down some other things to you, we're not just saying cut a check. We're saying provide a trust fund, for the funds to be in annuities, and for it to cover other categories like agriculture, because we were never given the land. We have to be provided infrastructure. We want funding to go to Black businesses for those that want to start their own businesses. For decades, Black people has been booted out or not even been given the opportunity to be in the cannabis business, right? And that 94 crime bill locked up more Black men for nonviolent crimes like selling weed and things of that nature. We're talking education, we're talking criminal justice, we're talking health and nutrition, housing. So it's a multitude of things where all of the atrocities were done against us. So I just want you to be aware there is groups out here that are fighting 10 toes down on the front lines to get a reparation package moved. And I'm gonna land the plane right now for that in case anybody wants to speak. But Demetra, I would love to stay up because I would love to answer any questions anyone have or anything of that nature if it's okay with you.
That's okay. Yes. And so I also want to remind Buckhorse.
Yeah. How do we get in touch? Like, how do we get a hold of that group? Like, how do we get information on that? Because that makes more sense, like putting together a package.
Well, and let me say this. Let me say this. So I got, let's see, 6 people, including myself, on here. So I would ask that everybody kind of be brief in what you're saying so everybody else can have a chance to speak. Also, if you have anything playing in your background, so if you have like the show playing in your background, it is going to cause an echo. So, and if you're not speaking, just have your mic muted. That way it doesn't give a feedback. So along with that package of the ADOS, there are plenty of packages. There's been packages presented for years now. Of course, we know Dr. Claude Anderson has talked about it. We know the Nation of Islam has talked about it. So there's plenty of packages. It's just really we need to just get behind one, right? And also be mindful of who we vote for. We do know that Black people disproportionately vote for the Democrats. Democrats have not helped Black people, do not want to help Black people. All they do is benefit from us. And I'm not saying the Republicans do either, but Dr. Claude Anderson says we are the only group of people that vote as a block for our oppression. So we really need to think about those things. If we start there, then we will start to have a little bit more power. So Common Man, he left out here, so I don't know if he has a technical issue. Okay, let's see here. Otis.
Oh, and also, if I just may interject, because he asked a question, I would encourage everyone to go to www.ados101.com, and you'll see it all lined out there. I think we need to have the conversation and know that there is organizations and there is a website out there that is for the benefit of our people and getting reparations. Thank you, Demetra.
Absolutely. So, Otis, you got the mic next. What's on your mind?
Hello, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we hear you. What's going on with you?
Just want to say it's good to be back here again. And I was thinking about that, what she was saying about how the slaves were owed money and property at that time, and they never got it. When I was thinking about reparations, my parents are still alive, and they worked on the plantation farms and stuff. And I always thought that maybe the parents that are still alive that worked on plantations back in the 1930s, I thought maybe they should be the first ones to get it. I thought maybe they should get like $1 million a piece. And I also said that if those parents are not alive, it should go to the children, and those their children that are not alive, it should go to their children. It should pass down. And I say that because a lot of Black people were saying that we all should get one amount. I just feel like it should go to my parents and not me. And so we got these organizations like these organizations ADOS. I just want would like for them to try to get in touch with these black athletes. Like I always say, we should hear what they have to say. If they're on board, they're on board. If they're not, they're not. Because it seems like every time, like the Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, the athletes and stuff, and they was into it, into the movement, but nobody got in contact with those athletes, and that would have been a start. I think maybe we could have probably been a different situation right now. I'm not going to try to take long on here because I want to hear what everybody else got to say. But like I just said, though, I don't. To me, it just seemed like the parents and the parents should get the reparation money. 200,000, that's nothing today. Well, no, 200,000 for each person. I don't know because my parents, they went through a whole lot worse than what I did. So back in the 1930s, so I feel like they should get at least like a million apiece, and those people at that time should get a million apiece. As for the rest of the people, if their parents not allowed, then you split that money down through the children that they had. And if they're not allowed, those kids that they had, you split it. Everybody's not going to get the same amount, but the thing about it, I just feel like that's a good number for each person that was on that each person that worked on the plantations back in the 1930s.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Okay, so Buck Horse, you got it next, and please let's remember to keep our comments to a minimum. What's going on with you, Buck Horse? Unmute your mic. I can't
Your
hear
mic.
you. Hold on, let me help you. Hold on.
No.
There you go. Now we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. How you doing, Miss Queen K? I love you, brother Dono.
I'm doing well with that. That's Walter, actually. But I'll tell Donovan you said
Okay,
that.
I'm sorry. How you doing, Walter, man? I love your info, man. Ain't no question about that. You got a lot of info. Miss Queen K, the only thing I got to say or whatever, I'm going to keep it brief. Miss Queen K, I believe for real what's happening is that we need to boycott as black folk for real. We can do it because we got a lot of money and we can start our own businesses and our own establishments. And Miss Queen K, if we can get them on board with that right there, we can change a lot in America real quick overnight. We got to learn how to boycott and say, nah, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. We're not going to go to Burger King. We're not going to go to McDonald's. We're going to cook for ourselves. We're going to make sure that our family's going to be straight. That's all that is to it. It's too easy. And I guarantee you, once we do that, them people's going to understand what a anti-black crime bill going to be. And they're going to understand exactly what we mean by reparations. We can knock this country down overnight, just like that, Miss Queen K. That's all I'm saying, baby. And I thank you so much, Miss Queen K. I love your commentary and everybody that be up on it. I share it too. I love you. Thank you, Miss Queen K. You are a legend.
Oh, well, I don't know about that, but thank you. I love you too.
Amen, y'all.
All right, thank you. Come back and see us.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's a great point. I think we should hold back the money to some degree. I think that would be a good start. I think if we went a week without spending money outside of our necessities, I think the world would shake financially.
And also,
go ahead.
if I may say, because I see some comments in the chat, right? I'm never saying that it should not be money, cash money. Of course, it should be cash money. There should be a lump sum given to descendants of slaves, and then there should be monthly payments, the same way the indigenous, the Native Americans are getting it right to this day. But I'm saying, please note that there are other areas where our people fell short and behind the eight ball of not being able to get home loans, not being able to get proper education and things of that nature because our ancestors were deprived of being able to read. So we're talking about funding for free education and things of that nature. And I must also say too, one thing I do agree with Walter is Black people especially need to realize that this America moves off of political science, and we need to get better educated in the science of politics. We're not going to be able to get no bill passed regarding reparations without some political power. It's just what it is. ADOS is backed by a Democratic movement, but guess what, guys? I'm about the movement. I'm not even a Democrat. I'm about the movement. I don't care if it comes from what side it comes from, as long as we get it. That's where the fight should be. And if we can get the politician that put the funding behind them, create PACs and super PACs, because Black people, we spend our money elsewhere, but when it comes to politics, we won't put the funds behind the right politician that where we want to get things moved on our behalf when it comes to policies and procedures. Everything in America, guys, is political, and it's just facts.
All right. So I'm gonna actually come back to the comment about you said ADOS is a Democratic backed movement. And I don't know much about it, so I'm going to ask you about it in just a few minutes. But I believe Common Man, you were next. I don't know if he's frozen. Are you frozen? Okay, I think he's frozen. So until he comes back, you're kind of breaking up a little. I can see you. Okay. Oh, let me unmute you. Let me see. Hold on. Let me unmute you. It won't let me. Hold on. Can you try to unmute your mic? Yeah, I think, yeah, you're kind of going in and out. So once your connection stabilizes, hold on a second, Otis. Once your connection stabilizes, we'll bring you back. Maxwell, you're up next. What's on your mind?
We can't hear none of y'all.
Sorry. Can you hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me? Hold on.
Yes. That was me. I hear you now.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, for poor people like myself, we vote, the way we vote has something to do with everything. But I say we put our money behind our own politicians that's speaking reparations. Number one, on the grassroots. Also, everything that everybody said up here, even Mr. Walter, even though it came off as condescending, that's right too. Everything that the representative from ADOS said, that's right too. So all of us, as long as it's about lineage-based reparations, cash payments and programs, protections and land, we all just have to do what we're doing. I mean, we've moved reparations from the back burner to the front of the lexicon. It's a hotbed topic. We need to maximize on this momentum. We're not always all going to agree, but hey, lineage-based reparations is what we're fighting for. So as long as we're fighting for that, everybody do what they, what you can. But like I said, we're not going to all get along. Everybody's not going to agree. Everybody that received reparations, all those other groups, you don't think they had these type of conversations? Little bit of arguing amongst each other, you know what I'm saying? But at the end, we will get along and we will get our reparations. So peace to everybody. And you have a good one, Ms. Demetra.
Thank you so much, and come back and see us.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I'm still at work, so I had to sit in my car to holler at y'all. You have a good one. Be one of y'all.
Don't get in trouble.
Oh no, I keep telling you, I'm the supervisor. Okay. I tell them when to shut it down.
Okay. Yeah,
yes, ma'am. Y'all have.
You're hiring.
Yes, ma'am. But I'm in Washington State. I'm a dual citizen. I have property and I have a place in California, but I work and do business in Washington.
Okay. Well, don't work too hard.
Yes, ma'am. You have a good one.
You too. All right, Otis. So what did you want to add to that?
I just wanted to say that I understand the boycotts of like McDonald's and other restaurants and stuff like that. That will do some damage. But I hear also about major food stores and stuff like that. I think what happened was that we allowed so many others to come in to feed us that it's almost impossible here in Chicago. It's almost impossible, or really is, because I don't know any other black-owned food markets around. And so my thinking is I would go and find one, but majority of black people, like here in Chicago, they'll continue to go to the regular stores because they feel like they don't have no choice. And I keep talking about the athletes so much. Somebody put in there saying that we always depend on our athletes, and that's not true. The thing is, we want to hear what they have to say. If they don't say anything, then we shouldn't support them. We just shouldn't. My thing is, like I said, it's just that a lot of black people are going to say, what choice do I have if you want me to start going to Jewel's or Mariano's or these other supermarkets? Where I'm going to go? You know, but that's why I said I think we put ourselves in a position, like here in Chicago, that what choice do we have? Some people are not going to go and ride like 20 miles out to a black-owned corner store on the south side, you know? So I think, like I said, we're going to have to really get these people, if they don't want to be there, if we think they shouldn't be there or not, Oprah, Farrakhan, Jackson, black athletes, these so-called black leaders in Chicago, get them in one room, and they don't want to agree, those that don't want to agree to it, then we're not going to deal with you no more. That's it.
But let me say this, and I hear what you're saying about the athletes and all those other people, and I always ask this question, and this is not directed to you, but I always ask this question: why is it that we're so quick to not deal with our own people or shut our own people down, but we keep allowing the oppressor to make it? I mean, because I'm never going to be mad at Oprah, Michael Jordan, Farrakhan, and Farrakhan has the Nation of Islam, which is a functioning organization on its own that they've asked people to join. So you don't want to be in the nation, that ain't their fault. But I'm not mad at them for doing what it is they're doing, but we want to organize and mobilize on them to shut them down. But what if we took that same attitude and organize on the Arab, the Asian, and Hispanics and everybody else that moves in our neighborhood, set up shop, drain out the resources, and do not put anything back, and not even hire black people in those stores? Why don't we organize on them? See, I hear what you're saying, but it's not Oprah's responsibility to save the black neighborhood. It's not Michael Jordan's. Let me finish. It's not Michael Jordan. It's not Farrakhan, even though Farrakhan has dedicated his whole life to trying to save and black people and wake them up. It's not their job, because, and I said this to the guys on the show last night. Donovan asked a question. I think it was a good question, but he said, as far as black women, will y'all allow us, and I'm paraphrasing at this point, will y'all allow us to lead? And I'm like, you a black man, any man worth his weight ain't gonna ask to lead. He just gonna lead, right? So I'm saying the same thing to us as black people, especially the black men. Why do we need Oprah's money? With all the money we got coming in and out of our community, we still got way more money than Oprah has. Oprah got it out the mud. However she got out the mud, that's her money. We could do the same thing too. But every time we walk into the Arab store, the Asian store, and give them money, then we're never going to get closer to having a grocery store. Hell, do we even have a fruit stand in the neighborhood? We can start there. We talk about the food deserts in our neighborhood, but we won't even start a garden or a neighborhood little fruit stand or something like that. So when you talk about, the athletes, is not their job to save the rest of us. They have been given, they have been given talents and gifts and things, and so have we. Now, for those of y'all that follow the Bible and law, knows I ain't trying to get no Bible study. Says everybody, was given talents, and I know about the rich man and all that. They was given talents to go invest, and some did and some didn't. Well, it's the same thing with us. Some of us are just not investing our talents, but I'm not going to ever charge that to the millionaires and the billionaires in our community. Now, another thing too is just because we don't hear about the philanthropy that they do, that don't mean they're not doing it. Everybody not doing stuff on the internet. Like when Prince died, we learned about all the people he was helping, including the Nation of Islam. But he didn't want people to know he was doing it, because philanthropy is just that. It's between me, God, and the people I'm helping. It ain't nobody else's business. So, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but we got to stop expecting them to help us. It's called do for self for a reason.
And what did Malcolm X say about looking towards our celebrities and athletes as leaders and role models and Black leaders? He says we are one of the only communities that asks an athlete, a singer, somebody to be a leader for us. That is not their job. They are entertainers. If you are a basketball player, you spend your waking hours learning how to play basketball. The fact that a lot of those guys still have money later on in life is a miracle based on some of the upbringings and their education with money. To then turn around and ask them to do, man, we have way more citizens than there are athletes. If the average African-American, Black, whatever you want to call us, would save $200-300 a month toward their future, for future real estate, for a future business, I don't care what it is, our dynamics would shift. So I feel like sometimes we go after the big thing where we can start at home. You cannot tell me as a human being that you cannot put away $200-300 a month for not just for your future, your kids. Like, if we can't even get to that point, then we are doomed. Like, I tell you right now, somebody made a comment about these candles. I got a chick living with me, been with me for a year and a half. She's not even my kid. She's 21. I'd be wanting to choke the shit out of her. She is not my child. And me and her had the same conversation about Black women don't have this. Black people don't have rights. I said, I tell you what, why don't we start from scratch? I'm going to start a business, and you go out and you push these candles. And I don't want to see you till it get dark. And let's have a conversation. She got money in her pocket right now. I have not seen this girl in 3 or 4 days. I come in the house, there's cash sitting on this counter for my half of the candles. You know what I'm saying? She's out in the car right now. Her attitude has changed. Her room is clean. Her shit has totally shifted. You know what changed all that? Money in her pocket. And she got money saved. Period. That's what changed her attitude, was having control of her life. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm saying if we could just get to that, where we can start putting a little money away, just start there, where we have more responsibility. And you guys, I know a lot of athletes and celebrities, and they're scared as hell about their financial situation. You make $10 million a year as an athlete for 5 years, and then you go making nothing, and you got to pay taxes and pay your entourage and buy your mama's house, your daddy's house, and you got to make $20 million last for the rest of your life and take care of 40 million people. I can tell you I know some of these cats that are stressed out about their money. So we got to leave these guys alone. Some of you make $20 an hour, you can save $2, period. And if you can't do it, downsize your house, downsize your car, because that's what people tend to do. And these are the conversations we need to have with ourselves. I know a lot of Black people that do well financially. A lot of my Black friends do extremely well financially. A bunch of, do you know Teresa Joslin? They're all right now in the south of France. A bunch of my Black buddies are in the south of France right now, renting yachts, all kinds of shit. The shit look bananas. I don't know for a fact, each one of them, I know most of them were struggling financially 15, 20 years ago. But they started saving money, putting it away, doing for self. We can learn from this conversation. And then we go and we find these organizations like, the one that this sister's talking about. We say, okay, why don't we put some money behind that? And why don't we start speaking more about the bullet points? Okay, we have bullet points. Here's what we're going to do. And we're going to put money behind that. And we're going to get away from these politicians who are supposedly helping us. We cut them loose. Like Maxine Joe, I cannot believe Joe Biden is still in the lead for Democratic president. Like, you know what they call it? And this sister brought up the crime bill. You know what they call the 94 crime bill? The Biden bill.
Mm-hmm.
It's his bill. Period.
Let me let Otis, what were you going to say to that? And then Patrice, I'm going to get back. Okay. Otis, hold on a second. Otis, Common Man, and then Patrice, I'm going to get back to that question.
All right, I'm gonna try to be short on this. What the reason I was saying, like I was saying, those black athletes, the ones that claim that during the protests of George Floyd, I was talking about those athletes, the ones that spoke out. Mike Brown, um, and those athletes that spoke out, I was talking about them. And the thing is, like I said, um, we we're gonna have to talk to them because if they're gonna speak out about how black people are being treated, whenever they get pulled over, they're gonna say they black. Okay, those the ones that did that, then we should have a conversation. That's all I'm saying. Just have a conversation. If they say I'm not with that, that's all I'm saying. They say they're not with it, then why not? Why would you? Shouldn't we just leave them alone and just continue without them? That's all I'm saying. And that's all I'm saying. And as for other as for doing for self, there are a lot of black people that are doing for self. You got black people in Chicago that's buying up real estate in Chicago. They're doing for self. But the thing is, if you're doing for yourself and not helping nobody, then that's a problem. But if you're doing for self and helping others, then that's cool. I have seen people here in Chicago.
Wait, hold on. Wait.
No, I'm going to interject. Let me piggyback off what you're saying. One, like, who else makes money, does for self, and then is required to help other people? I think this whole narrative about athletes and as an athlete or an entertainer, if you speak up for black rights, real black rights, we will eat you.
I wasn't just talking about black athletes and entertainers. I just said regular people.
Okay, but
you cut me off. You didn't let me finish.
Okay, but hold on, Otis. But all fairness, we gotta concede the floor to everybody else. I know because listen, I said this yesterday on the show. I'm one of those people that can go on and on and on forever, but we got other people up here, so we can't monopolize the floor. We kind of got to bounce it off because we need to ask Patrice a question and Common Man if he ever thaws out there. I'm sure he has some stuff to say, so we're gonna give it back to you in just a second. I also want to add on to that, but go ahead, Walter.
No, I was just saying, we doing for self and taking care of your family is helping our people because we need more of that. We need more, especially black men taking care of their family. That would help the people. We just took care of our own selves. Every black man out there, you go get your kids and you fight for them and you take care of them. That would help our people tremendously, number one. And then some of our athletes and entertainers, when they do speak out, they get crucified. Look what we did to Ice Cube. He came out for the black person. Here's what we want. We ate his ass up. Kyrie Irving. We got Kanye West. These brothers, regardless of how Kanye came out with it, these guys, I see people on podiums calling him and Kyrie a demon for Kyrie's demonized for putting out a video, tweeting a video that's on Amazon for $50, which is a whole nother conversation. So when our athletes and entertainers do come out for black people, we wipe them across the floor. So what incentive does an athlete come out for real black rights or education when we eat like Bill Cosby came out, told black entertainers, save your money, put your money away, invest, start annuities and this, and we ate his lunch. So he just stopped talking about it. So I think we need to give those cats a break and we just grow some big ones and say, I got kids, I'm gonna fight for them. I'm gonna take care of my own family. And then from there, let's see what happens to the race. I guarantee you most of this other stuff, like if you're a black man and your daughter's out there in this midnight, you don't know where she at, you go find her and you bring her ass home. You know what I'm saying? Or you sit your kids down and say, you know what? This is over. We're going to make some changes. I think that would help because that's something we have control over.
So,
right.
And so let me, what was I going to say? I'll be having to take notes so I don't forget. And then I want to go back to Patrice. I remember a long time ago, y'all remember when Oprah was building that school in Africa for the girls and stuff? I think it was Diane Sawyer or somebody asked her. She says, Well, there's Black people in America that need your help. Why aren't you helping them? She says, because Black people in America have this. I'm telling you what she said. Black people in America have more opportunity than the African girls do. She says that unless they have a uniform, they cannot go to school. She also said, if you educate a girl, you educate a nation. She said also against the law for a child to, be on its own here. They have orphanages and things like that. But she said over there they don't, and she believed that they would better appreciate the opportunity. And so I think a lot of people feel like that about what's going on over here in America with Black people financially. Now I know the systemic and institutional racism, but we do trick off a lot of our money. Let's keep it a buck. You know what I mean? So I think that's why. And guys, if I go out, I'm gonna come back on my phone because I can kind of see it's kind of weird out here. So let me go back to Patrice and let me see, Grinded Hard in Entertainment, I think, for 15. How you doing? Okay. Miss Patrice, so you said that the ADOS is a Democrat group. Can you explain that?
Well, it is supported by certain people that run it. The founders are a part of the Democratic Party, which is Yvette Carnell and Tone Talks, Antonio Moore. They are the founders of the ADOS movement, and they are from the Democratic Party. But again, I think we have to, like I said, I'm not a Democrat, but I'm about the movement, right? So it didn't matter to me as an independent if it was a Democrat or Republican that was pushing for this package to go to Congress. I would be behind it. And I think that that's where we go wrong, where sometimes we tend to get in our feelings. We can still be of one political group and support something, a policy or procedure from another group. We can do two things can be right at the same time. We can do both things at the same time, people. So if it's about a specific policy or procedure, does it matter if it's going to push the narrative that we want push to get policies and procedures and to get this package passed to Congress? Would it be so bad to not stand behind this particular movement, even if you're Republican or independent or whatever? Right? Or if Black people feel that like we're good at talking points, right? But at some point, if you don't like the parties that you have been traditionally assigned to, then create. Why don't Black people create their own parties? Now, I'm on Walter's side when it comes to not putting our faith and hope behind politicians. But at the same time, when we did have a politician speak on our behalf, like we said, Ice Cube, which ADOS got behind Ice Cube, our collective board members who are economists and financial advisors was going to speak to Trump with him. But what did the majority of the Black people do? They wanted to cancel Ice Cube. So listen, Black people, we're too picky. We're too, if it ain't this, it's that. We have to learn that in some things, if we say that we want a seat at the damn table, we have to come to the table with somebody. And it may not always be who we like. We know, we say, oh, Trump is a racist. We say Biden is a racist. Okay, we say, well, I had to vote for the two of the lesser evils. Who is really the lesser evil? When you think about who has spent over 50 years as a racist in politics, is that Trump or is that Biden? Let's be real about it. How long has Biden been in politics versus how long has Trump been in politics? So if we really voting for the lesser evil, who is the lesser evil?
So let me
Black people have to be real about things now.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree. I'm nonpartisan, so I don't vote for either one of them. But let me ask you this: if we know that Biden is the lesser two evils, and if he is, it doesn't take you a lot of research to figure that out. The lesser two evils between him and Trump, and we also have heard Biden very clearly says, "I'm not going to be held responsible." Wait, hold on. He said, "I'll be damned if I'm held responsible for something my ancestors did." So he's basically saying, I'm not paying y'all reparations. And he's never said that he would, Biden is a Democrat, has always been a Democrat. I think he's a Dixiecrat, but nevertheless, he's a
He come
Democrat.
from the Dixiecrats.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
he's a Dixie. He's a Dixiecrat. So I guess, and they're just kind of playing devil's advocate here. Then why would any organization that is pursuing reparations get behind the Democrats who are not interested in any way, shape, or form? And I'm not talking about your Cory Bushes and all of them out there performing kabuki theater, pretending like they really trying to give Black people reparations. I'm talking about the people that actually do wield some power. They're not interested in giving Black people reparations. So why would any organization call themselves or align themselves with the Democrats at all? Why not just say I'm ADOS, and we do have our own political organization?
Absolutely, and I agree with that. And again, because I would say I know, because politics is what moves this world. So I guess, seeing they had to choose a political side, that's a political side that they've always been under and worked with. I agree with you 100% on that. Now, I can be an independent voter and still, support this movement, but still vote how I want to vote when it comes to other policies and procedures. Black people seem to think because we're one thing, we got to straight vote one thing, and that is not the case. Right. So when we're talking about who was willing to have the conversation, Black people have to be real about that. Trump was willing to have the conversation even before he ran for office and won the presidency. Biden is the one that told Black people wait until after he's in office to have the conversation. And then when we got Ice Cube to have the conversation with our people, they wanted to bring in Killer Mike and T.I. and all these other people. And Ice Cube says, no, I got my people who I need. I got my economists. I got my financial advisors. I got my socials. I don't need anybody else. But see, that's the smoke and mirrors that we always fall for. So listen, Black people, I continue to say, if we want a seat at the table, we're going to have to be there with somebody that don't like us sometimes, if we want to get something done. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I agree with you to some extent, but I just cannot, in good faith, even in blind faith, ride with the Democrats. I just can't. Listen, I don't ride with the Republicans either. So I don't want, because I know a lot of times people think, oh, if you say you don't ride with the Democrats, you must be a Republican. It's kind of flawed deductive reasoning there for some reason. But I just cannot ride with the Democrats. And so to me, and listen, this could be me being ignorant, because I don't know a whole lot about ADOS or FBA. I've heard some, but I don't know all there is. But to me, it almost seems like an oxymoron for American descendants of slavery who want reparations to align themselves with an organization who's like, you ain't getting it. That's it.
Right. Listen, I agree. I'm not voting as a Democrat either, but I'm voting for the movement to be passed. I'm voting for this reparations package to be passed. Do you realize that you can vote for one particular thing and be another particular thing? That's what I'm trying to be clear on. Like, as an independent who didn't even vote for a Democratic president or a Republican president, I voted locally because I believe in voting for policies and procedures that affect my community from a ground level, right? So I voted that way as an independent. See, again, Black people need to learn the science of politics and how it works. You can vote for a policy and be from a total different political movement.
All right. Hold on. Let me see if I can bring up Common Man while he has a good stream. I didn't mean to cut you off, Walter. But let me see.
No, that's okay. We can hear him. Let's bring him. It's nice to actually have a real conversation about progress. I'm learning some stuff right now I wasn't even aware of.
There we go. That's what it's all about, knowing. Common Man, are you there? Yeah, you have to unmute your mic.
And I just want to say, to the answer to that question that was up there from Panther Strikes, I absolutely agree. But the agents is not about a particular political movement. They put massive millions of dollars of funding behind a particular politician that got their bills and their policies passed in Congress. Again, keep in mind, they put their funding behind the people that push their policies. That is the key.
Agree. Common Man, are you there?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's your connection. Unfortunately, you're probably gonna have to get to where you have a stronger connection because we want to hear what you got to say. Okay.
I don't know what something with. I don't know why with this stream it just. It's never done this before.
Okay, we
We
can
can hear you now.
Are you clear?
We
Yes.
can hear you.
All right. Let me explain to you. The reason they're not going to give black people, African Americans, reparations is because we have no interest in the country. I mean, they have no interest in us, or we have no interest for them. For example, like China or the Asians have an interest. They got America has to look out for the Asians to keep in good with the Chinese. The Jews have an interest because they have Israel and the nuclear weapons. Okay, border in the south. You there? Okay.
Yes.
But we now have no interest. African Americans have no interest. We have nothing that we can give to this country. They can
Yeah, we lost him. I'm gonna go ahead and remove him. Yeah, sometimes unfortunately that happens when you don't have a good connection or something's going on. So hopefully he can come back and join us. But Patrice, I also want to kind of bring up too. You probably seen it too in the comment section. A lot of people were saying we don't want any more programs. Enough of programs. Cut the check. What do you say about that?
I understand that again, but I absolutely do believe that Black people need programs. This is why crime is so high, especially in urban and low impoverished communities and Black communities, is because of funding that was cut and no programs. We have no after school programs. We have no more things that benefit our children. And to not put some of that funding in that, as well as free education, as well as housing for our ancestors that fought in the Civil War and then denied housing through the GA bill. And I don't understand how we can say I don't want nothing but money. I'm not saying that we shouldn't get money. Of course, that should be the number one thing we get. Like I said, a lump sum and a monthly stipend, the same way Native Americans get theirs right now, along with land and along with all these other things were denied our ancestors. That still affects us right to this day when it comes to finances, how the banking institutions benefited off the Blacks of slavery and then denied so many of us housing and mortgage loans. Like, how can we say, no, I don't want that? Because there are going to be people that get money from reparations that's want to start businesses, want to buy land, want to buy housing, and all of that is provided in this package.
And I agree with you that we do need some stuff in addition to money, like land, real estate, and those type of things. We do, right? But I think the problem, and I have a problem with that too, with people saying, here's our program, and we want to represent all Americans, descendants of slaves. This is our program, and we got it from here. Y'all sit back and let us handle it. I have a problem with that as well, because if I want to start a program, and there'll be a lot of Black people who will start programs, I could start a program, but I don't need this group or that group per se to handle my money. And I think for those who want that, great, have them speak on your behalf. But to say that I am this group and I'm speaking for all American descendants of slavery here in America, that's not right, because I'm personally not asking no group to speak for me. But for those who want that, then yeah, but to take it upon yourself and saying, we got it from here. The rest of you Negroes take a back seat. Now that's not cool. And I think that's kind of where a lot of people are having the issue now with something like Ice Cube. It wasn't necessarily a program. It was more or less like, here, this is what we as Black people in America need. It was money, it was education, it was land, it was real estate, it was a whole lot of tangible things.
Absolutely.
But when you hear people talk about, well, we got this program and we're gonna speak for all the Black people ain't asking for that.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a part of the package, but the actual per person, how they want to do with their money is their business. I think it would be a smart thing for Black people who suffers from financial literacy more than any other race group of people in this country should take the opportunity for those that want to take the financial literacy, for those that want to deal with mental health when it comes to their families, for those that want to take advantage of free education, for those that want to take advantage of, hey, well, I can buy some land, I can get some infrastructure, I can get housing tax free or whatever. I think that the opportunity should be there for those that want to take it. We're not saying it's a must that all people take these things. We're saying this is a part of the package for those that want to take advantage of those things.
Otis?
Thank you again. I heard that word program and I started thinking about Chicago when the mayor, Lori Lightfoot, she had a program for Black-owned business owners, a $30 million job training program for the Black people that own their own businesses. That made me think about that. But then you start talking about programs, other programs and stuff. And I started thinking about something in Chicago. Anybody that comes to Chicago or live here, from California diversity to division, California division and to division to, I want to say maybe like Western, that whole area is all like Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, not Cubans, Colombia and the Latinos and stuff. And y'all was talking about after school programs. And I noticed if you ride through there, and other places I live up north, their after school programs, their programs take their kids back to their homelands. And those kids, I'm sure those kids who haven't been there, they learned something about them going there. And I think that probably encouraged them to do good here in this country and take the money back to where they came from. And for like the after school programs here, or centers, the centers, the afternoon school program centers, those races does that. But in Chicago, like on the south side, I haven't seen any programs that did that take the kids out of the state, like go to places like Africa, Jamaica, like that, and other places, and let them interact with those other people of their kind, and get some kind of economic education, and maybe it probably better them. It probably inspire them, like the other races of children. When they get older, to get a job, they just invest money over there. That kind of thing there. When I was thinking about, when y'all was talking about programs and stuff, and for kids and stuff. But I just want to ask a question before I get off. Before I start talking. In Chicago, we have a Hispanic Housing Authority. Do they have that in any one of your places in your towns where you live at?
I'm sure they do. I just don't know about it, but I'm sure they do. Because
I'm not talking about them.
No, you're fine.
Okay, yeah, I asked that because I found that kind of interesting. We had a meeting in CHA, the Chicago Housing Authority, and I asked them, can somebody tell me how did the Hispanic Housing Authority wind up getting their own housing authority? Can somebody tell me that? And I asked that also at a group of Hispanics at their organization where they call themselves trying to represent us in public housing. And I asked them that, and we'll talk to you after the meeting. They left. But I was just asking that question. So far, like I said, Chicago politics are tricky from everywhere else, and I think that's like what's her name? The lady with Ados, Patrice. Like what Patrice is saying is, I understand what she's saying. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but I'm just going to say this. It might be a good idea. I think they're probably doing it. They go on from state to state and having these meetings with different black people and state to state, and they probably getting data of what the people want. And so that way they can represent their group can represent what the majority of what black people are asking. Demetra, I understand what you're saying. That you might not agree with that list or with that data. I understand with that, but yeah, I think like that's why I was saying that we should hold these meetings from state to state and come out with some kind of data and some kind of number. Like I said, I just believe my parents, they should get that money, not me. They should get that money. I believe my mother and father, they live together, still married. I think they should get $1 million apiece for what they went through in the 1930s. When they were born, when they were kids in the 1930s, they deserve $1 million apiece. That's just me.
It sounds like your parents are like my parents who come from the silent generation, right? Which were sharecroppers and things like that coming out of Reconstruction. And by the way, I will say I was born and raised in Chicago, South Side. I grew up in Inglewood, right? So listen, I think people get misunderstanding or get misconstrued what I'm saying about programs. If you go to the ADOS website, the very things I named when we're talking about the programs, I mean agricultural programs, because despite of being agriculture experts at the end of slavery, Black farmers have been historically excluded from agriculture programs. I'm talking Black businesses, the opportunity for Black people that has never owned their own business to have that opportunity based off of being denied those things, being denied to get into the cannabis business. I'm talking criminal justice, the injustice. I'm talking education. I'm talking health and nutrition. You wouldn't want to see instead of a McDonald's on every corner in Black neighborhoods, you wouldn't want to see a healthy farm grown where you can grow your own fruits and vegetables. And housing, I'm talking about the red line and subprime lending practices that we did not benefit off of. So I think y'all think I'm talking about, oh, let's put a after school program like Boys and Girls Club. No, I'm not talking about that.
Can I ask you a question? Patrice? Are you still active over on the south side?
No, I don't live in Chicago now. I'm in Arizona where I see the results of the Native Americans that have benefited from their reparations and still benefiting now. Are there some poor neighborhoods and Native Americans? Yes, but they are a sovereignty nation here in Arizona. And guess what? They own a lot of the casinos here. They own a lot of the land. The state of Arizona can't even build on certain property here because it's owned by Native Americans. So when we're talking about taking advantage of opportunities, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, oh, let's build some Boys and Girls Club on the corner of State and Madison. No,
I wasn't saying that.
So,
I wasn't saying that.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people weren't talking in simplistic terms like that, either like a Boys and Girls Club or anything like that. I understood what you meant as far as programs, but for me, whatever program it is. And you said it too, for those who want ADOS or any other group to speak on their behalf, then that's fine. But I don't think that should be the talking points for everyone. Because to the point of a lot of people in this comment section, and I know you say you're not a Democrat, but if ADOS is a Democratic-backed group or they're aligned with the Democrats to some degree, and I'm one of those people, I kind of like try to put two and two together. So they're aligned with the Democrats, and then they talking about making these programs in addition to money. I'm thinking that the Democrats are behind the programs. You know what I mean? And just me, maybe I'm being too much of a conspiracy theorist. I try not to do that much. But it sounds like a way for them to say, okay, we'll craft these programs in lieu of giving them all the money they deserve. Just we don't want them more in control, because the premise is do for self. Up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will, and get the politicians out of our business and stop being dependent upon them. So when you say that as a group, we're going to ask for this, the programs and this money, but we're in line with the Democrats, that's not really doing for self. It's, you know what I mean? I know the politicians, they have to be involved with administering the reparations, but as far as aligning ourselves with them, as I said, and I know some people probably get up mad, I'm not trying to make you mad, this sounds like an oxymoron for a reparations group to even claim any part of being with the Democrats at all. Just kind of weird to me.
I mean, and again, that's where it gets tricky, because, like I said, the founders are a part of or have worked for the Democratic Party. The founders is Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore. He's an attorney out of LA, and he has a YouTube page called Tone Talks, and Yvette has a YouTube page talking about reparations up under her name, Yvette Carnell. So they are a part of the Democratic Party or movement, if you will, right? And again, I keep saying, in order for us to get this as a protected class, as a protected group, it's going to have to go up under some political party to get to push that to Congress.
Well, see, but to me, and listen, I suck at math. I know Walter's great at math, and you all are probably way better at math than me. But I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to align ourselves with somebody who really does not want to align ourselves with them with us. And that's where I was going with that, because I kind of lost my train of thought. We as Black people, the Democrats cannot win anything. They can't win dog catcher of the year without Black people. So to me, it would be it sounds like more common sense and makes sense mathematically if we just sustain, keep our vote from the Democratic Party. That way they'll do stuff faster. But us trying to work hand in hand with them, have these conversations with you, and we, oh please, and all that. Nah, they're not gonna do that. But if we, sit back and say 2024, we don't care who gets in office, but Democrats, you definitely will not get our votes, because you benefit from the votes more than any group. See, that's what I'm saying. And I'm not saying this about you, Patrice, but I'm just saying my wheels getting to turning. That doesn't make any sense.
Listen, I agree with you 100%. But we have these conversations, but Black people are not talking about creating their own political parties. So then why not do that? And you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but not voting is also a choice. So I'm not telling y'all what to do, but I'm saying not voting or sitting out or not voting for the Democrat Party, that also is, a choice or whatever the case is. But it just like, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I'm not, but it ain't jiving with me that the founders of, because in the ADOS movement, let's just say this, is not new. It's not a new movement, but the one that Yvette Carnell and what's her name, Antonio Moore, they have is new within the last couple of years or so. But they align themselves with the Democrats, and we know how the Democrats have done Black people, and we have a lot of Black people saying that I'm divorcing the Democratic Party, but yet they want to speak for us. I don't know. I want to get myself in trouble here.
No, Demetra, honey, you have no idea. I'm with you on that, sister. I am 100% with you on that. I'm not behind a party. I'm behind a movement.
And I'm not saying you.
That's the difference.
No. I'm not saying you. I hear what you're saying loud and clear. I'm just saying that the movement or any group, not just ADOS, but any group that is saying that they're going to get, as Martin Luther King said, I'm going to get our check. But then you getting in bed with the Democrats, and Joe Biden, who said, I'm not giving you no check. It kind of smells fishy.
Well, would it make you feel better if a Republican or independent party say I'll push the reparations if the Black people get behind me and I'll push it to Congress? Would that make you feel better?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the point. Whatever group that is talking about getting reparations for Black people, yeah, we with it, because we want something specifically for us. But we know the Democrats have played with Black folks since the 30s.
But Demetra, who else is talking about it other than willing to have the conversation other than Trump? other than Trump. It's the Democrats.
So nobody, but this is the thing. Why? This is the question I think we should all ask. Why should the Democrats continue to benefit off of us and we not benefiting from them? See, the Republicans already don't benefit off of our vote. Nobody else really benefits off of our vote like the Democrats. And so the Democrats have thumbed their nose at Black people for a very long time, and we continue to vote for more of nothing. And so for us to align ourselves with the Democrats, asking them for reparations, I think that's really silly. It's just my opinion. But
I agree.
If we would say, you know what, Democrats, you have benefited disproportionately, overwhelmingly from the Black vote for the last time, then they're more prone to say, okay, we know we've been, sticking it to y'all for a long time. What is it that we could do for you? But we want
again, then, Demetra, why don't Black people create a PAC, right? A political action committee, create a PAC and put their funding and resources behind another party or independent or Republican and say, listen, if we can get you to take this package, this reparation package to Congress, we will put this funding behind you. See, these other groups, let's be real, these other groups put millions of dollars behind the politicians they wanted to push the policy. That is the key. I worked the Obama campaign. I know what I'm talking about. I was in the office, a part of seeing the checks come in from those communities. So that's how politics work and the science of it. And that's what Black people have to realize. We gotta put our funding and resources behind, create a PAC, a political action committee behind the politician we want to push our policies to get things done for us.
I totally 100% agree with you. Dr. Claude Anderson has said the same thing. So I totally agree with you. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said neither the Democrat or the Republican care about us. We ain't got no business in politics. We need to do for self anyway. So
now that's facts.
Yeah, there's a lot of opinions out there. But, to me, it's faster for us to just say, you know what? I'm going to go watch the sunset on election day. Because we know that by the time we get money together and get a PAC and a candidate, it'll take us longer to do that, opposed to saying, let me just contemplate the meaning of life on election day, right? You saying DACA? Yeah. But I just think the Democrats have, this is my opinion, I think the Democrats have benefited off of us enough. I mean,
I agree. 100%. But I wanted to say thank you, Demetra. I have to go now off the panel, but this has been a great discussion. I would love to join again at some point in time. Everyone, thank you so much. I appreciate the love from the chat, even the tough questions. You have an amazing audience and subscribers, and I've been subscribed to you for a while, listening in to other conversations. But thank you so much for the opportunity.
You're welcome. And I love and appreciate you for coming up here, answering the tough questions. At least somebody trying to do it.
Absolutely. And you guys at least go and check out the website. Go to ADOS101.com and at least read and see what the package is about, and you can get a better understanding. And I'm all for it. If Blacks want to, get their own political party together, reach out to OG Patrice. I'm there. I'll lead the pack. I'm saying we got to do something. That's all I'm saying. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye. Maxwell, I see you that came up on here again. What's on your mind, brother? You muted yourself. You muted yourself.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to ask her about how Yvette and ADOS as an organization told us to vote blue no matter who, and I'm not with that. That's it. I don't trust the Democrats. I don't trust no politicians, but I don't think we should be doing anything with the Democrats. But like you said, watching the sunset on voting day, see how they do without us for a while.
If we could actually do that and mean it, the world would shift on its axis. It would be, you would feel it. We'd be in here nauseated if we could actually do that. So I mean,
Yep, I understand that. I understand that, Mr. Walter, but we didn't even do well on the Gucci boycott. So, you know.
Gucci, the Nike boycott either. I see everybody wearing Nikes again, but that's a whole nother story. Well,
right. But I still believe we're going to get our reparations, and, you know, hey, however we get it, if you have to go the political route. But like I say, at the grassroots, we just need to, one, don't vote for anybody who's not talking about cutting a check, or at least, serious conversation about protections. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. I didn't really want to say too much. I just wanted to ask her a couple of questions, but it's not that deep.
All right. Well,
peace and reparations, y'all.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for coming back on here.
And it would be nice.
Yes, ma'am.
As far as a program, I know there's so many, but we're going to need some sort of leadership. Maybe it's not a program, but we're going to need representatives. We need an organization to push the ball. Democrat, Republican, listen, but it's going to have to be somebody with power. We need to get behind somebody that can go in there and kick the door in. And we need to, like if it's going to be like, for instance, I like Ice Cube. Ice Cube is a businessman. Killer Mike and T.I., I don't know enough about them, but Ice Cube put this together. Him and his advisor spent a lot of time, energy, and money, and the brother is well versed on the topic and articulated his plan well. I have no problem get behind somebody like Ice Cube who could then maybe build a group and get with some of these other ones. But Black people, you guys have to leave these dudes alone. I watch Black organization TV show after wear this brother out. I got one of my friends, Claudia Jordan, who was on the Fox Queens or something, and I watched him chew this brother up. How could you get with Trump? And Trump was like, yes, I'll meet with you guys right now. Biden was like, wait till after y'all Negroes elect me, and let's meet then. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me the goods first, and I'll pay you later. Like, come on now. Well, the best advice I think I've heard on here today is to just boycott them and see what they do. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, like you said, Biden said, I'm not down for reparations. I created the crime bill. I'm the one that created. He's so smug about it too. Like, I created the crime bill. And I'm not responsible for what they did. Out of his own mouth. And it ain't like Joe Biden said this in 1922. He said this shit recently. And we still behind him. And you're about to die. Shit, let me check the news. Joe Biden, you might be dead already. Hell. Like, where's our love and affection? Where does it come from? It's like we have, what's that, do you call it? The Stockholm Syndrome or
Yep.
Love Thy Master? I mean, say what you want about Trump. He is an individual, he seems like a really shitty dude. I get it. They all are. But at least he was willing to meet with Ice Cube. Like even Kim Kardashian and Kanye's in the White House, getting people out of jail. Like, I like seeing stuff like that. So I don't know. I just think hold the vote. Let's do it. Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's been the battle cry for a very long time. But before we get out of here, I just want to briefly mention what's going on. You guys, if you live under a rock, you wouldn't know what I'm about to talk about. But of course, you heard about the Titan, that little submarine. They're calling it something else, but it's like a little submarine that went, and it had 2 billionaires, and it was something like that exactly. 2 billionaires, the CEO of the company, and a Titanic expert, along with one of the billionaire's sons. They went down there on Sunday, and 45 minutes into the trip, they lost whoever, I guess, was monitoring this thing, lost connection with them. So they've been down there since Sunday, and it's also said that they have until tomorrow, or otherwise they're going to run out of air. Now they're about 2.5 miles down in the ocean, and many experts are like, we gonna try, but not a whole lot of things can survive down there, and there's not a lot of things we can really send to find them. And the other issue is they don't exactly know where they are, because they said that they have the U.S. Coast Guards and somebody in Britain, because one of the billionaires from the UK or something like that, they have an area that they're looking that's twice the size of Connecticut. So it's a very large area that they're looking in. So they don't really know where they are. Now they're saying that they're hearing some knocking going on somewhere, but they still don't know where it is. So for them to just put something down there and to be going along the ocean, the floor of the ocean is like, yeah, we're not going to try to kill ourselves trying to do it. So the point is, unfortunately, and I'm not trying to be morbid here, is they may die, right? Now, a reason I'm bringing this up is because I don't know if you guys heard about some sort of a boat, a fishing boat that had quite a few refugees going actually to London from Libya that capsized, and they were Africans. Said about 300 of them drowned. They were able to save 100 of them. Right, y'all ain't heard about that, but you heard about the very wealthy people that's at the bottom of the ocean. Now, one of the billionaires, they call him an adventurer, where he was one of the people that went up to space briefly with that of Jeff Bezos, or was it Elon, one of them.
It was Bezos. I think it was Bezos.
So they went to outer space. So he does those type of thrill-seeking things, right? But you got all that money, and I'm not trying to be funny, at the bottom of the ocean, and you got the U.S. Coast Guard, you got Britain, and everybody else is involved, and they're spending all this money trying to find money, but you got all these black people that died, never heard anything about it. So because this is the money show, I just really wanted to make a point that a lot of people say money ain't everything. Money is everything when your ass is 2.5 miles. You know how far 2.5 miles is down in the ocean? That's far. I walk 2 miles a day briefly at lunch. And I thought about that. I'm like, all this time I've been walking, that's how far those people are down. So the point that I'm making is money ain't everything until you get stuck at the bottom of the ocean. Now imagine if it was 5 of us that got stuck down that ocean. They say, well, we gonna miss them. They wouldn't even put a fishing pole, a fishing line down there to come get us. So the point that I'm making is money is very important, okay? So we should try to get as much of it as it can. And yes, of course, we want to help ourselves. We want to help other people. Now, listen, if y'all been on Twitter or anywhere else on the internet, people got jokes like sad. Some of the jokes are kind of funny about the people being on the bottom of the ocean, right? But not funny that they're going to potentially die. But a lot of people and by the way, if they paid $250,000 a piece to get on this thing that is manned by it looks like a Nintendo remote control. And the guy, the CEO of the company, he was like, yeah, it's the remote control. And, we can command the thing by this little remote control. Now, most people would have been like, I'm sorry, sir. I'm not getting on that with you with a little bitty remote control. And mind you, the thing ain't even that big. They said they got like a little area about that big that they can go use the restroom. Now, I'd imagine by now that thing is pretty funky because they've been down there since Sunday. Did they have water or did they have any of that other stuff? So the other thing is sometimes when we do have a lot of money, that don't always mean we have a lot of wisdom. Because I think all of us, if some dude from a submarine company say, hey, I got this thing, I want y'all to pay $250,000 to go 2 miles down below the ocean, most of us would have said, is you crazy? I'm not doing that. So money don't always equal wisdom. So unfortunately, sometimes when people have money, they do silly things. And I'd imagine they had a lot of conversations with God all the way down at the bottom of that ocean, hoping somebody would at least, happen, the Little Mermaid or somebody, oh, hey, what y'all? Now, I'm not trying to be funny. Oh, my God, that's pretty bad. But, I honestly, I hope that they do find them. That has to be a horrible way to die. And mind you, again, they were going to look at the remains of the Titanic, and we know what happened with them. You can go watch the movie, The Titanic, and you learn all you need to know. But for some reason, they needed to go see it themselves, so they might be a part of the Titanic. But anyway, Otis, what was you gonna say?
Well, before we get off the air, I just want to clear up that here, like I said, Chicago politics is different from a lot of other states, and sometimes that's why when I hear you two talk, sometimes I'm going by Chicago politics about how they treat black people, and a lot of times it's different in other places. And my thing is, I'm not dependent on the athletes to do anything, but it's just that if we're going to talk about it, invite everybody. That's it, and have a conversation, and that's it. If they don't, I just don't understand. Like, I guess I do understand. Like in 2023, that we still have black athletes, and in political office that can't say anything about helping black people in America. I know it's kind of surprising, but it's not with the way how we got social media. And if you say anything, you could take it to court, and there's a good possibility you can win by explaining why you said what you said, but or coming out and saying that, well, you know, the NBA or the NFL told me if I say this, then I won't get a contract. My political seat, the people said that if I say this, then I lose my seat. Because I think what happened with Obama when he was with Bruce Springsteen, I think you talked about it, when he told Bruce Springsteen the reason he didn't do nothing for black people because white people were going to get angry. So when he said that, I was just like, wow, like, so you was a puppet. Obama is a puppet, but he was trying to tell black people stop crying, stop your complaining, stop your whining, while other races of people like the immigrants from DACA, they got millions of dollars and they whined and complained, and they got millions of dollars to help they race of people and getting business construction contracts, and he didn't say nothing about them. So I agree with both of you saying that we should do for ourselves, and if we could, we can help others and stuff. We can help other black people. On the south side of Chicago, there are a lot of black-owned businesses out there, and they're doing really good. Like I said, I just wish they can open up a black-owned supermarket out there. And I feel like then in the black beauty supply store over there, I believe then we'll see a shift in Chicago. But these politicians, they know what they're doing. They know the kind of black people that got in there. They know what we're thinking. A lot of times we tell them what we think, and we just have to stand our ground. If we come to the point that we have to get aggressive physically, not speaking, not just speaking, then it had to come down to that. It's just that you have to convince the gang members in the neighborhood about their future and give them a picture like this is where you might be within 5 or 10 years doing nothing, or still out here on the street corner, or living with your mama and she 80 years old, or living with some woman, you know, and you don't have a job. You know, we have to talk about that.
Yeah, we need to.
And sometimes I do talk about that. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. First of all, Chicago is a horrible example of politics. Chicago's been led by Democrats forever, and it's, you know, Chicago has its fair share of blacks running that city. I've been in Chicago. You know, some of it's nice. I mean, but like Chicago has been ran by Democrats forever. I think
except for here in Washington.
Yeah, you may want to move out. You might want to move down south. You might want to come to the east or the west. Personally, Chicago, all my friends that have lived in Chicago, like, we're never going back. This was decades ago.
You know why I'm still here? You know why I'm still here? The only reason I'm still in Chicago, because I wanted to move out to Chicago Housing Authority, but I got talked to stay here because of the construction that's going to come here. Now, with the rule changes in the construction, they were going to hire the people on the property first, to do the residents first, to do as hire laborers first. They changed that because of, I guess, because of the illegal immigrants coming here, or the white people's. They couldn't find enough contractors going to take the contract at a too low bid to do the contract. But when that changed, then I'm now considering moving to Mississippi. I'm thinking about it. If this don't go the way how I plan, I'm gonna make some noise. I'm going to Mississippi.
Yeah, I see people in Chicago protesting the migrants that are coming over. They like, wait a minute, hold up, that was our money. I mean, yeah, Chicago, I think is a horrible example of you know, of politics. It's just I've never heard anything positive when it comes to Chicago. I know we've had some incredible leaders come from there.
Right. If
But
you come back to Chicago, as you come back to Chicago, go on what's that, 75th Street to Michigan. From 75th and Michigan to 75th and Cottage Grove, you'll see a whole line of black-owned businesses out there. You'll like what you'll see out there. You'll see what they're trying to do. They just not getting the funding to expand around the corner on Cottage Grove going to 76. They're not getting that money. The city not giving it to them. They're not doing it on purpose, but they funding everybody else though.
And that right, it sounds like Chicago's doing well because I mean, in California, LA, I can't think of a street of black-owned businesses. I mean, in my mind,
not hardly anymore. But anyway, y'all.
I'm talking about 8 in a row, 8 businesses in a row.
Do they even have 8 black people in a row in Los Angeles?
That's what I'm saying. So, and that right, maybe we can learn from Chicago. But it all goes back down, like you talked about the billionaires on this Marine ship. The reason they're looking for them is because it's about the money too. I guarantee you, if they do find those people, they'll have no problem cutting the check to to repair or to reimburse those people that were looking for them. It's just what happens and the people that are looking for them know that. 2, they're not trying to have that on the record that somebody went down. This is a recreational event. These people bought these tickets. They're not trying to have that. It's like riding into space on Elon's ride spaceships for individuals and it blows up. They ain't trying to have that. That's why they're looking for them. And these people contribute some way or the other, otherwise they wouldn't be looking for them.
So let me say this. I know we can go on and on forever, but we're going to get out of here because I am tired. And I know you guys are tired too. So I'm going to allow you guys to get to your evening. But Otis, thank you so much for staying on here with us.
I appreciate it.
Yes, indeed. And Walter, thank you so much. I know sometimes we don't agree, but, we appreciate you and love you nevertheless. And of course, we don't always agree on this show, but iron sharpens iron. We learn from each other. So let's come back and do it again on Sunday with Donovan and I. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk about it nevertheless. So in the meantime, you guys, please have a great evening. And of course, we have ways to help the channel down there and to my channel members and everybody that comes on here that likes, subscribes, comments, whatever it is you do. I love and appreciate you for that. I could not do this show without you. So once again, you guys have a great evening. See you all on Sunday, 5 p.m. Central Time.
Okay, love, peace, and hair grease.
All that.